This is an agricultural region. This was an agricultural region. It was known as the breadbasket of the Middle East. For centuries, Palestinians in the Gaza Strip grew crops that fed not just their families, but many people across the region. But now it's hard to imagine anything growing here at all. The reason for that is this Israeli siege that has lasted for 17 years. Years of repeated conflicts have pushed Gaza's once productive economy into total collapse. So much so that the UN says that without a major influx of foreign aid, Gaza will be unlivable by 2030. They say Gaza could be the first place in the world to run out of water. The World Bank estimates that the unemployment rate is about 50%, which means half of the population that is able and looking to work cannot find a job. So how do people survive in these conditions? We spoke to one family in Gaza to find out how they get by. Salama's day starts before sunrise. She wakes up early to take care of her animals. Her farm used to produce crops like eggplants, cucumbers, peppers, and tomatoes. There were banana trees and pomegranate trees and date palms and wheat. Now she grows nothing. The last time she had a harvest was 3 years ago. Since then, there have been 2 wars between Israel and Hamas. During those conflicts, the farm was bombed and destroyed. This is what it looked like after the last war in May 2021. Her greenhouse is burnt and destroyed. The crops are gone and most of the fruit trees are dead. Salam lost everything. And since then, she's been relying on humanitarian aid to feed her family. This is what her kitchen looks like. Not much to start the day with, but it's enough to keep them going. There's some oil, there's some rice, beans, lentils, salt, sugar, flour, tea, some spices, and canned food. Every month, the World Food Program delivers food parcels like this to 1.2 million people in Gaza. That's almost half the population. This includes 80,000 people who are completely dependent on aid. It's not enough to make Salam and her family self-sufficient. So like many other Palestinians in Gaza, they grow vegetables on rooftops. Here, they planted eggplants, peppers, parsley, tomatoes, cucumbers. They grow whatever they can in the little space they have left. It's called urban agriculture. It makes up for the lack of traditional agriculture, helps people put food on the table. Every morning, Omar goes to his rooftop garden. He tends to the plants, collects the vegetables that are ready and takes them home. This is his wife, Mohammed, and their 5 children. Their youngest is only 4 months old. These are the vegetables from the garden. Nothing fancy, but this adds a little variety to their diet. Their day starts with eggs, maybe some beans or lentils, perhaps some rice, always with vegetables from the garden. Lunch is usually the main meal of the day. This is what they ate today, rice with chopped vegetables. Sometimes they add chickpeas if they have some. It's not much, but it keeps them going. Dinner is usually something light because it's hard to cook. They don't have gas. They use a small candle for fuel. Dinner is often leftovers from lunch or more vegetables from the garden. Sometimes they get fish. When we visited them, they had some pickled mango. They eat it with rice and onions. Mohammed's daughter got married last year. On the day we visited, the young woman was celebrating her first wedding anniversary. What do you think she got? Some lentils, some rice, a few vegetables. Unfortunately, that's the reality of a lot of Palestinian weddings in Gaza. There's no celebration without food. In Gaza, 56% of the population is poor. 1/3 of that, 37%, are absolutely destitute. They live below the national poverty line. The average income per person is around $960 per year. 2/3 of the population are women and children, so the chances of them finding a job, a good job, are even smaller. When the economy collapses, when people struggle to put food on the table, they have to make tough decisions. Sometimes those decisions mean that parents have to pull their children out of school to help them make money. This is why more than 50% of children in Gaza are out of school. It's also why thousands of children work in the dangerous and illegal marble quarries. We met a young man called Khalid. He's 13 years old and works in one of these quarries. He gets paid $10 a day. He uses the money to buy food for his family. When he's not working, he goes to school. He does his homework under the most difficult circumstances possible. If things continue the way they are now, in 5 years, Gaza will not be able to produce enough food for its own people. By 2030, it may not have enough water to sustain life. This is what the United Nations says. If things continue the way they are now, Gaza won't be able to support its own people. There are already too many people living in extreme poverty, too many children out of school, too many young people unable to find jobs. Too many people are relying on aid to survive. How did things get so bad? In Gaza, 80% of the population depend on humanitarian assistance. Without it, they would not be able to survive. The reason for that is this Israeli blockade. It started in 2007 after Hamas took control of the territory. Israel responded by imposing a siege. It tightly restricted the movement of people and goods in and out of Gaza. It also prevented reconstruction after every war that devastated the territory. During conflicts, Israeli forces target not just combatants, but also homes, hospitals, schools, farms, factories, infrastructure. All of this is destroyed. But afterwards, the siege prevents people from rebuilding their lives. It prevents them from reconstructing their homes, their farms, their businesses, their factories. The result is that every new conflict leaves people worse off than they were before. The last war happened in May 2021. It lasted 11 days. It is estimated that more than 10,000 people were killed, 20,000 injured. As of December last year, 57,000 people were still displaced. Their homes were destroyed. They couldn't go back because their houses were burnt and destroyed. They were living with relatives or in camps for the displaced. During the latest conflict, Israel reportedly bombed hundreds of greenhouses. The farms are burnt and destroyed. The crops are gone. Farmers like Salama lost everything. When we visited her, she told us, "What can I do? I don't know. Maybe God will help me." And it's not just farms that were destroyed. Infrastructure was also targeted. During the war, Israel reportedly bombed water networks. A lot of people in Gaza don't have access to clean drinking water. Only 65% of the population have access to basic water services. As for sanitation, only 53% of the population have access to basic sanitation services. The situation is dire. According to the World Health Organization, people in Gaza need 140 liters of water per person per day. But during the summer, people get only 25 liters. Where is the rest? Where does the water go? Water is scarce. Conflicts make it even scarcer. This is why it is vital to protect water infrastructure during armed conflicts. But in Gaza, that's not what happens. The last war between Israel and Hamas happened in 2021. This is what the water network looked like afterwards. Pipes were damaged. Water was leaking everywhere. People couldn't collect enough water. They didn't have enough water for drinking, for cooking, for sanitation. A new war may be looming and another siege will likely follow. What can people do to protect themselves from another catastrophe? There is no answer to that question. More than 2 million Palestinians are trapped in this cycle of violence and poverty. They have nowhere else to go. For Palestinians in Gaza, this is their only home. Whether they stay here or try to leave, whether they fight or resist, whether they accept a truce or not, the consequences will be the same. Gaza's economy will continue to collapse, its people will continue to suffer, and even if they manage to rebuild their lives, their existence will continue to be threatened.